Howdy, welcome back to Basics. I'm your host, Jamil Damji, with my wonderful, beautiful, and incredibly smart co host, Landry Morby. How are you today, Landry?
Pretty good, Jamil. How about you? Holidays are
Excellent.
coming right up around the corner. Came up quick. Can't believe it's about to be the end of the year.
I know. Anything you're doing specifically right now to prepare for the festivities?
We're going to head over to Arizona on Sunday. So that'll be nice. We'll get to see everybody. It's a bit of a shorter trip than we usually have, but we have cats. So got to cut it a little bit more short than usual.
Cats
But
are
I'm
fun.
excited to see Pace and Laura's new baby. I'm really excited about Phil.
Yeah, right. What a beautiful baby boy, and congratulations on the addition to your the new addition to your family. Just incredible. What a blessing,
Right. Yeah.
Babies always bring so much to our lives and so much blessings that we I wish I just had a million babies, but
Yeah, I know. There's usually something that happens in my family. Once one baby comes around the corner, I feel like three more family members get pregnant like at the same time. So who knows? Maybe down the line you'll see like a whole other group come into play.
Yeah, it's just like this domino effect of pregnancies. It's not a Mormon thing though, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Totally is.
Wonderful. So I obviously we're not streaming into YouTube today, so happy that all of you who are with us could join us on alternate platforms today. My YouTube has been hacked. We are in the process of getting it back right now. YouTube has a process to retrieve it. I just want to remind everybody that I don't participate or promote anything in cryptocurrency. So if you ever see something on my page asking you to send Bitcoin or telling you about Bitcoin or some kind of cryptocurrency, it is not me. It is a scam, and just don't send anybody any money. I would never solicit you to send me money like that. That's just not how things go. Of course, I promote software product, things that we use in our business, and that you wouldn't even send me money for. You would usually sign up for something like you would Batch. So again, never send me money. Don't do that. It's not what we are here to do. We're here to educate. We're here to help you guys solve problems, help you get your first deal. I'd like to see who we've got with us. Unfortunately, I can't see the numbers on my screen. However, I'm logged in here. But if you are here live in the chat, just tell us where you're joining us from, because I'd like to get a count of what city we have people coming to us from. I have an announcement to make for the winner of the referral to the beautiful, incredible, brilliant, and very, very helpful Dina Jones. We have Blake Uribe is who won the hand referral. So I'll be personally referring you to Dina Jones so that you have an opportunity to connect with her. She can give you the greatest title and escrow officer in your current market. She will also help you out with connecting to their marketing team so that you've got an opportunity to get some free marketing from them. Title companies will always hook you up with stuff. Usually, though, they will have like very generalized lists, right? And that's a little bit about what we're going to be talking about in today's episode of Batch to Basics, the different types of lists that you can pull when you are contacting sellers. We are actually live right now. Yes, Johnny, we are live. I know it might feel a little weird because I'm not on my YouTube, but we are live. David Quintero said, bro, I'm so confused with the softwares that Jerry Pace and you promote. Can you please help me deal with or find a software that can help me find my first deal? Well, David, you're in the right place, because Batch Leads can absolutely help you do that. And in fact, today we're going to be talking about stacking lists and how to create a super list. But before we do that, I just want to go over what we talked about last week. Last week, we were diving into building buyers' relationships, what to look for in a buyer, the kind of questions to ask if you are building a relationship and trying to tag where your buyer is doing business, the types of properties they're looking for, whether they be fix and flip, short-term rentals, mid-term rentals, or if they are just looking for depreciation or creative deals. There's just so many different types of property and situations that people are looking for. And every buyer has a different buyer box. And so it's really important that you are understanding and really getting to the bottom of what your buyers are looking for. After that, we looked through the cash buyer filter that we have on the Batch Leads platform, which really streamlines your ability to find a cash buyer. So should you have a deal under contract and you're looking for a buyer, you can use Batch Leads to very quickly curate a list of potential buyers for you, which you can then communicate with either through calling them, sending them an email, or possibly a text message, whatever that is. But that is your ability to connect. And if you get in front of a buyer at the right time, you have a higher opportunity of being able to sell them your contract. And we spoke a little bit about what that kind of timing would look like, right? And so we can think about when somebody is fix and flipping, when they fix and flip their property and they put their house on the market to be sold, that rehabber is usually ready to buy a deal. And we talked about what characteristics you would be looking for in a listing that could point you to creating or generating the idea that this is a fix and flip property. And we spoke about, them being completely remodeled, staged, but paying attention to the closets, right? Seeing if there's any clothes in the closet. That will really tell you if you've got a flip property or just a very beautifully staged, or if you have a beautifully staged flip property or just a really beautifully remodeled personal residence. And that should give you the idea or the understanding of whether or not this is an investor or if this is just a person with really good taste. Now, after that, we spoke to, and we actually tried to call some buyers and create those. But, again, guys, these phone calls, they take time, right? And so you can't get discouraged if you're calling for 20 minutes, a half an hour, sometimes even 2 hours. And if you're not able to reach people, it's just the process. This is what we do. That's why not everybody can be a profitable wholesaler. This requires work, patience, dedication, consistency. Without these ingredients in your recipe, you're not going to be successful at this. This could be a side hustle for you, but it'll be very difficult for you to build a business out of it. So remember, buyers are the lifeblood of your business. Without them, there's no liquidity to your deal. A contract is not a deal without a buyer. So remember that. Have relationships with your buyers, increase the depth of those relationships, and it will serve you for years, if not, decades in your business. I still do business with buyers that I met in the first few, weeks of my beginning wholesaling here in the United States. And some of those buyers have become some of my best friends. Some of those buyers, I go to their Christmas parties and they invite me to their birthday parties. And I went to a christening, these are the types of relationships that I have with my buyers because I'm a part of their business. I've helped them make hundreds of thousands and some of them millions of dollars in profits. So they really like me, right? And so these are the kinds of things that you want to have when you are dealing with your buyers in terms of building relationships. Now, today, we are going to be looking at pulling seller leads. All right, David. So if you're wanting to find your first deal, you really want to pay attention to today's episode because we're going to talk about the different types of lists. Okay, because there's so many lists, right? There's high equity, absentee owner, notice of default. We've got code violations. And all of these different types of lists are going to have a different type of seller psychology associated with them. So it's super important that you understand who you're talking to so that you can curate the type of conversation that you're having. Now, I want to kind of dive into some of these lists that I just spoke about, Landree, like the high equity list. Mm-hmm. Let's kind of get into that. So why would a high equity list be a list that could be an important list to pull if you're looking to speak to motivated sellers?
You literally just asked me the question that I have the worst time explaining what equity is in general. I'm like,
I'm happy to explain it. So yeah, guys, a high equity list, this means that somebody has a lot of money in their house, right? So they have a very low mortgage balance. Maybe they've owned it for a long period of time. So we're looking at people that have, bought these properties in the early, like many decades ago, or right after the financial crisis. There's people who purchased in like 2010, 11, 12, and they've been holding that property ever since. And the market has escalated and appreciated dramatically since that time. And so that person is going to have a lot of equity in their house. Now, if that person hasn't done a lot of remodels, updates, or any repairs, then there could be an opportunity there, because if the condition of that property is in distress and that individual has some equity in their property, they may be inclined to sell at a discount or sell to an investor because they don't want to deal with the trouble of renovating the house or having to make any of those repairs. And I think about it a lot of times, like people who have a vehicle that they trade in, right? I've traded in a car before, and I knew that when I traded in my car to the dealership that they weren't going to give me the Kelly Blue Book or like the most money for my vehicle. I realized that I was trading some money for speed and convenience. I didn't want to go through the headache of listing my house on Craigslist and then having, all the tire kickers text me and call me and make lowball offers and have to meet people in weird areas. And like, that brain damage wasn't for me. I decided that for my lifestyle and for my peace of mind, I'm just going to take my car into the dealership and they're going to give me what they give me. And then I'm going to buy what I buy. Right. And so that is a thing that many of us can relate to because we've done that. And it's the same thing with houses. People behave the same way. They are fed up, tired, or just don't have the financial resources to make the adequate repairs to make the house financeable, but they have high equity in their house. An absentee owner. So what would you describe an absentee owner as, Landree?
I always just think of it as they're absent. They don't live there. If I live I own 123 Main Street, but I live at 777 Street. I'm an absentee owner. Whether I have somebody living there or renting it out for me or not, I'm not there.
Right. And what are one of the ways that we can determine that it's an absentee owner?
Usually it's by the mailing address where they're receiving mail. So
exactly.
If you're not going to mail there, you're probably not, living there and going outside to get the mail.
Bingo. Now, what's really interesting as well when we're talking about an absentee owner is we do know that they must live somewhere. Yeah. Right. So if this property is in their name, but they're not receiving mail there, they're receiving mail somewhere else, then this house is a secondary house. It's an investment property or just an extra property that they're not living in. So because it's not their primary residence, then we can assume that this person isn't going to be emotionally attached to this property, and there could be an opportunity for them to sell it. And that's why we want to try to contact those people because, hey, if you have more than one house, you may decide you want to sell one of them. And so that's a great list to pull. Notice of default. Now, these are people who have defaulted on their mortgage and they've been given a notice of default by their lending institution. Now, this points to financial distress. This tells us that somebody is experiencing some financial difficulties in their life right now. They're having a hard time keeping up with their mortgage payments. And if that's the case, then they may need some assistance in selling that property or getting some of their bills taken care of. And so if we have a notice of default getting issued and we use that list, then we know that there's at least some financial distress, and we can tailor our conversations to that effect, right? Because the psychology of a high equity, an absentee owner, and a notice of default are all going to be different. So we have to understand the list we're calling, because if we have different situations, we should have different conversations.
Right. Yeah. Just like if maybe later in the pre-foreclosure process where somebody's told you, I've got it, but then you see that now it's going to be going to auction. Like that's a totally different conversation now that they're kind of getting to the end of the line, in the process. So I think that's a really good point too, with all of these different lists to kind of just think about when I'm always going over these filters and when we have groups of people that I'll go through to help people understand how to utilize all these softwares. I always explain it as, painting a picture. If I'm imagining and painting the picture of who I'm trying to target and pull in my list, it's going to allow me to pull a way better list than just using something that everybody pulls, just because somebody told me to. That way I can start to be like, okay, if the home is older, what does that mean? That probably needs some work. Right. If they've owned it for a long time, what does that mean? It's like all these little filters, I feel like that might seem really insignificant. That's what makes the difference in pulling those really good lists. That people
Absolutely.
Use,
Absolutely. And another one of these really interesting filters to look at are people who have been issued a code violation, right? So
Mhm.
code violations, that's like your HOA has given you a violation for, maybe you are leaving your garbage out in front of your house and you shouldn't be. I
Yeah.
remember getting a violation for in a condominium that I once owned. They didn't want the residents to have barbecues
Oh,
outside
yeah.
of outside
Yeah.
of their house. Yeah, and so which is a little bit goofy to me, right? Because
Yeah.
like if you have an apartment, yeah, how many people barbecue? Like almost everybody, right? So they'd have these little barbecues outside, and everybody who had one, we'd keep getting all of these like note all of these fines, right? And those fines, if you don't pay them, and the worst part was is that they weren't even letting us know about the fine. They were letting the
Yeah,
tenant
yep,
know.
found out way later.
We found out way later, and it was just like all this money had accrued in fines, and so we actually ended up selling those properties because that property management company was
Too
goofy.
much, yeah.
But not only HOA violations, but like actual city code violations, right? So this is like, hey, your landscaping is horrendous. You've got to mow your lawn, or you've got trash piled up in the front of your house, and or maybe trash in your backyard. I remember
Mhm.
we once bought a property in Tempe that had code violations on it, and the reason for the code violations was because they had an extreme amount of rodents that were like around the property, and the
Oh
neighbors were
my gosh, and
noticing
affecting the neighbors. Yeah.
it was affecting the neighborhood, but we didn't realize that there was a reason for all of the rodents. There were snakes.
Uh-oh.
And so when we purchased the house, we had no clue that the house had been infested with snakes and rats. And when we finally opened the door, it was exodus of all of these snakes and rats, and they were in the pool. They went into the neighbors, into the neighborhood. It was just unimaginable, right? Like one of the worst things that we had ever experienced and seen in our life, just like overrun with snakes. And so, but it was a great deal. We
Goodness.
made, I think, $150,000 on that renovation after we
Okay.
flipped it. So just a wonderful, wonderful situation. But yeah, these kinds of things happen. If I'd like to know if any of you guys watching this right now, if you are using specific lists, tell us what lists you've been using in the chat. I know a lot of people are a lot of people use the tired landlord list as well. And these are people that have, again, own a property. It's not their place of residence. So it's an absentee owner. And maybe they've had an eviction filed. Maybe they've tried to evict their tenant. And so that triggers this to be a tired landlord because we know that they've been, owning the property for quite some time. And maybe they filed an eviction. Also, the length of time that they own that property is also really important. Johnny Ramirez says pre-foreclosure. Yes, another great list to call. That is people in financial distress who have been given a pre-foreclosure notice, meaning that they have defaulted on their mortgage payment so many times that the bank has now began the process of issuing a foreclosure or starting a foreclosure on that, which is not a fun situation to be in. So absentee landlords, pre-foreclosures, notice of default, code violations, empty nester list. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Empty nester list is really, again, one of my favorites. That's people who are over the age of 40 that live in a house that's 2,500 square feet or larger, 4 bedrooms or more, and a 2-story. You compile all of those filters on top of each other, you got one powerhouse of a list. Thank you, T. Yes, that is one of my secret weapons. But today we are going to really dive into list stacking. Now, if you've never heard of list stacking, your mind is going to be blown once you learn about how powerful list stacking is. So could you tell the audience, Landree, what is list stacking?
Yes, absolutely. And Natasha, if you could bring this up too, it'll help me to have a visual to explain to you guys if you haven't heard of it before. And by the way, before I forget to, if you guys haven't joined, if maybe this is your first time joining me and Jamil, or just in general, you haven't gotten to the Batch community, make sure you get into that group. You guys can connect with me there and connect with a bunch of great people and just continuously learn from one another about the product, but also just others that are all over the US. But anyway, so what list stacking is essentially is that, let's say that in whatever market you're in, let's just take, I don't know, Tennessee, you start pulling these different lists that Jamil's, going over, like empty nesters, vacant, pre-foreclosure, people that have defaulted on their taxes. The list goes on, code violations, liens, whatever you start to pull into your account. Imagine that you, like, let's say that you pull a pre-foreclosure list and 123 Main Street comes up on that list. You don't really know it that 123 Main Street is there because you're saving like this list of a couple hundred properties and you move on. And 123 Main Street comes up on your next search for people that have defaulted on their taxes. Before you know it, the more properties you're saving under different lists and however you're saving your data, these properties start to appear on multiple lists, essentially. So just to put it really plainly, like in my account, let's say you get in to start calling some owners in your account and you really don't know where to begin. Like in my account, I have like 70,000 people. And if I just open up my filter and I move it, I'll show you on this other one. Let's see here. If I move it, let's just say I'm telling the system, hey, I want to find people that are on like 3 lists, maybe 3 to 5 lists minimum. The system's going to go through all 70,000 of my properties, and it's going to tell me which properties are on at least X amount of lists with literally me just moving a tiny bar. And then when I apply that filter, instead of me looking at 70,000 properties, I'm now looking at 23,000. Maybe wow. I narrow that down to like 5. And I think that narrows that down way more, like right here. When you're doing that in your account, just to give you guys an idea. So I have 10,000 people that are on 5 or more lists compared to that astronomical number of 70,000, not knowing what to do with that. But this is kind of what it looks like when you click on one of these addresses in your account and you get into all of these details like this. There's a list and a tag area. And this person right here that I pulled up, for example, is on my tax default list, my expired listings list, and my high equity list. I'd way rather call somebody like this rather than just an absentee owner and nothing else.
I agree. And, we just got a question in the chat. John Zapley asked, what is the difference between batch and PropStream? Well, they're platforms that have a lot of overlap, but this is one of the main key differences is there is no list stacking feature in PropStream, right? So just imagine that, right? You can create a super list in batch. If I stack together, okay, so what Landree was explaining is that she's stacking different lists on top of each other, and then houses that appear on multiple lists, that means that property could be an absentee landlord, also be a notice of default, also have a code violation, also be in pre-foreclosure, also have high equity. So all of these boxes are checked. Now we create like a super lead, right? It's a super lead because we see this lead on multiple lists, right? And if we have a list of super leads, that's called a super list. You can't build a super list on PropStream, right? In addition to that, we have the industry's best skip tracing. And family, I have tested the skip tracing on PropStream. Again, I have nothing against PropStream. I think they're a wonderful company with wonderful people, and Merry Christmas to everybody there. You guys are awesome. But there is a reason why I've been promoting batch all this time, and it is because I believe in meritocracy, meaning I believe in supporting the best, right? I tested the data that I got when I skip traced with PropStream versus the data that I got when I skip traced with batch. And the contact rates spoke for themselves. The number of connections spoke for itself. The quality of the data was what brought me to batch, right? That's why I have been such a heavy promoter of it, why I like it so much, because it is just higher quality. And I feel that if you're going to pay money for leads, then you should be getting the highest quality. And what's even more interesting is that they have similar costs, right? And so the cost for batch leads and the cost for PropStream are pretty much in line with each other, but you just get a much higher quality product. And again, thank you to the people at Batch for being able to and constantly reinvesting in the your guys' technology and reinvesting in the vendors and reinvesting in all of the different places that you're pulling this information, because if it wasn't for you guys, there wouldn't be wholesale deals for Keegley to sell. So really appreciate all of the things that Batch is out there doing. Now, today, and this is only for today, we are going to be pulling, we're going to show you how we're going to pull a super list. Okay. So where Landree is going to take 5 different pain points, stack them on top of each other, and then pull a list. But we want to give a super list to everybody who signs up for Batch Leads today. So if you go to batchleads.io/Jamil, Landree is going to personally pull a super list for you in your market. Personally, a super list for you in your market.
Skip Trace, show you how. I'll show you.
And she's going to show you how to do it. So you guys are going to get your own super list, which you could just get started on and calling right away, right? So again, go to batchleads.io/Jamil, use the code BASICS so we know that you got it from this show, and that will give you 50% off your first month so that you can really test this out and really see the utility and the power of what a super list can do for you. So Landree, let's pull a super list.
Okay, cool. And by the way, guys, how that will work is, once again, it's only for today. You know, the holidays are coming up. The meeting is tomorrow. It is a Zoom call that I'll do with you guys that sign up. People that are already using Batch, you guys are welcome to come too. Just send me a message in the community is going to be best, because we're going to pull the list of people that sign up only today. And that's how I'm going to send you the invite. Otherwise, I don't know who to send the invite to. So
there you go.
And once again,
John Matthew said, what if we already have Batch because you're an astro flipping? Amazing, John. Happy that you're in the astro community. You are also invited to attend tomorrow, but just send Landree a message in the community right now. And that's in the Discord, Landree. Is that where they message you?
This link, I don't know, Natasha, if you have it, this link I sent in the private chat, that one there, or if we have another one. But if you guys get into that group, or you're welcome to even send an email here, whatever's best for you guys. But once again, especially for those of you that have, maybe you've been really used to using something else, or just in general, it's difficult to really dive in. Like here we are making it sound so easy. Paint the picture and you'll just have an awesome list, you know, but that takes practice going through here. It's not like I just opened up the software and knew how to use it the first day. And I think it's invaluable for if you guys are trying something for free to learn, you know, right when you get it set up. So just remember to do that right away if you guys can. And yeah, it'll be great. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. It'll be like in the morning, afternoon-ish that I'll send you the invite. But let's jump into pulling some list.
Exciting.
Where should we focus on? Should we pick somewhere?
Yeah, let's go. I'm going to look in the chat and see where we had some people. So we've got somebody in Dallas. We've got Savannah, Georgia, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Nashville, Tennessee, Simi Valley. What do you think? What do you like out of those?
Let's do
Delaware.
Nashville.
Let's go to Nashville, Tennessee. I love it.
So how this works, you basically just type in your area. You can do like a boundary tool. You could do lots of specific stuff. I usually do it by the city in here just to get a good group, but search the area. And how this will work is you just open up your filters at the top. If you want to make your life really easy and just get straight to the point, there are quick filters across the bottom that will look at these kind of total dwellings that we have over here on the right, and it breaks it down for you. So right here, you can already start to see like these multiple lists, like this many vacants, there's this many cash buyers, this many tired landlords, etc. But where the really nitty gritty and the powerful lists come into play, I feel, are in your deeper filters. We can kind of talk about these, and either way, we'll go about it just kind of however we see fit. But let's start with, should we do like an empty nesters list? That's always an awesome one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, so if you were to say, let's say that we're pulling an empty nesters list or like a downsizers list like Jamil was talking about. So you do 40 minimum?
Yeah, 40 years of age.
Okay, cool.
2,500 square feet or more.
Okay.
4-bedroom minimum.
Let's do that.
And high equity. So they've had to own it for, let's call it 10 years or more.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. And demographics. So just to give you guys an idea on those things that I applied here, there's basically everything you can think of under the sun, whether that be the types of properties you're looking for, if you want a certain lot size, a certain value, if you want them on or off market, it's endless. All these different things that we talked about in the beginning of today's episode are in here, which is pretty awesome. So it says that there's 8,600. We could probably narrow this down anymore. Maybe we should do like, make sure that they're regular, like single family. Do that.
Yeah. And can we add more filters now? What if we have an empty nester list and we stack on top of that some pain points like possible code violations or some of these other filters? Let's see if we can narrow this list down and really make it strong.
Okay, so we could do, that's one thing that you can't do is like code violations in here.
Okay.
But, we could do like tired landlords on top of that.
Let's put tired landlord on top. What other things can we lay on top of it?
We'll pull this as itself, we'll have to kind of set. So basically how this will work when you guys get in here to stack them, they have to be separated. So I would probably, if it was me, pull a tired landlords list, pull an empty nesters list, pull a couple separate ones. And then when you smush them together at the end, it's like that super list.
Cool.
Type deal. So maybe we'll pull this one by itself and then we'll move on to like a different list.
Sounds good.
Cool. Let's do that. So you just apply the filters, click select, top right, and save them to your account right here. So let's save the properties and I'm just going to name it, make a brand new list in my account so it's easy for us to stack later, and we'll just name it Empty Nesters December 21st and click save. You can do tags and make it really specific, but let's just keep it simple today and then you can move on. Let's do, what else?
Let's do an absentee owner.
Okay.
And let's do tired landlord.
Okay. There's another list just like that. In just a couple seconds, you keep pulling these lists. This is just to really also visualize like what I was talking about earlier. Like you didn't know it, but 123 Main Street was there again. It's kind of like if this property like popped up in our last search and here it is again. It's almost like, just to make it clear that Batch Leads isn't duplicating anything in your account. It's almost like laying another sticky note on the property. It's like, hey, this one also fell under this category, and making it really organized to let you know kind of what's going on with them. So let's click save, save these guys. And we're going to name it Lords. Okay, let's open another tab. Wow, that saves. And let's do another one. Let's do like a pre-foreclosure, maybe like an active auction, something like that.
Love it.
Just pull it all together, the pre-foreclosures. Another really easy one to pull in here. Let's do this. We could use this where you could come in. Sometimes I do like maybe like a future auction date. Something's coming up in the next couple months, you know, they already have their date down, or just going straight for this. Let's see, it's a pretty low number already, so let's just pull the pre-foreclosures of these guys. So 275 comes up.
So John Matthew is asking about, you know, the cost of skip tracing, you know, 14 cents. Honestly, John, not a terrible price to be totally honest with you. The industry standard out there is higher. You can sometimes pay up to 20 cents, but there's some really exciting news I'm not allowed to share that is happening at Batch. But just know this, it's about to get real inexpensive. I don't know. I'm not allowed to. Am I allowed to talk about it, or I'm not allowed to talk about it? Not allowed
I don't think so yet.
Okay, so but John, there is coming down the pipe at Batch Leads is one of the most insane promotions, and I don't even know if it's going to be a promotion. I think they're just making a change. They're changing things in Batch Leads, and I'm super excited. I mean, I think it's going to blow the entire industry away. Yes, that face that you made there, John, that's the face I made when I heard it yesterday. or the day before yesterday. I was just like, "Are you guys serious?" And they're like, "Yep." I'm like, "Okay. You guys just trying to like put everybody out of business?" And I think that might actually do it. So, John, don't worry. Your concern has been heard, and you will have a solution to that very soon. Do you know what the date of your guys' rollout on that?
It should be beginning of January, so like real soon.
Okay. Early Jan, guys. And make sure that you guys are members in batch leads, because you don't want to miss that note, and you don't want to miss when that change happens, because it's gonna be really, really, and I'm interested, how many people actually move over from other platforms because of that, because it's something that nobody else is doing. It's going to change the game.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So, and just in general with, we're always updating things, as anybody knows that uses batch, and there's just going to continue to be updates, which I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, be on the lookout, everybody. Let's see, 1221, save that guy. Okay, so we've saved 3 lists so far.
There's going to be a change to the pricing of skip tracing. That's all I can say. That's it. I can't say much more. I'm already
People are like, tell us the secrets.
I know. I'm already I'm scared I'm going to get like blown up in a minute here by Jesse being like, "What are you doing?"
Okay, let's see here. Okay, now that it loaded, now we can save some more. Okay, cool. What about expired listings?
Please.
Another good one. A lot of these, if you guys are seeing, we have our base of, I'm just going to reset it just to really show again. When you do your search and you're playing around with this and whatever your market is, or even if you're doing it in a zip code, the system brings up the grand total on the right, and the quick filters are looking at that and letting you know what's going on a little bit deeper, which is why, it makes it a quick filter to just make your life easier. So, but then if you see that these numbers are too high, like for example, perfect, thing that we were talking about in the beginning, like in the past couple episodes with finding cash buyers, we don't usually pull like maybe 14,000 cash buyers. We go into our filters and we start doing kind of that painting the picture of they purchased it, now it's active, finding people that have fixed and flipped. So that's kind of something to keep in mind as you are playing around with this. If you're seeing like, oh, I want to use a quick filter, but maybe that is just too big of a number, then just go straight up to the blue filter, as we've been kind of doing today. And that's where you get nitty gritty. So just a reminder, let's just going to do a couple things here, like the types, and then we're going to do expired. Let's grab those. Okay, what's the last one? What should we do?
Tell me some options.
We could do classic vacant. I'm always doing vacant because
Okay.
that's a good one. Maybe a tax default list, another good one that we talked about today.
And then we're going to smush all these together, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, guys, I'm so excited. And then what do you say I call some of them in the last 15 minutes of the show?
Yeah, that would be good. You'll have to give me a second to grab some of them, but I would love, that would be awesome.
Okay. You guys excited? You guys want to hear me call some people? If you don't want me to call people today, then don't worry about it. I won't. But if you want me to call, I want them to tell me. If you guys want me to get on the phone and start calling some sellers today, then let me know in the chat. Say, call Jamil. We want to hear it.
And John, I saw your question that yes, if there are email addresses available, then yes, you get the phone numbers and email addresses when you skip trace. What was I doing? Oh, tax default.
Looks like they want me to call.
Okay. Oh, Terry's on here. Terry, you got to let us know if you've talked to any of those agents yet. Let's see here. Let's do vacant instead, since it's a little bit more of a full list compared, and do that, if that's okay with you, Jamil.
I love it. How do we overcome the objection? I want to wait till after the holidays. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't really want to push somebody into, they're not going to sign a contract with you during the holidays if they don't want to sign a contract with you during the holidays, right? So that's what you do when you put them into your follow-ups, and just make sure that you understand when they would like to hear from you again, and then follow up. One of the biggest problems, John, that we have in this business, especially for folks getting started, is you get really excited to start calling, and then one day you call people, and then life happens, right? You go back to your job, your kids are this and that, just gets busy, and then you forget to follow up, right? And it's those missed follow-ups. That's what hurts the most, is when you miss a follow-up, and then all of a sudden you see a house that you looked at 2 months ago, and some wholesaler sends it to you on and they're selling it now, and you're like, geez, man, I was chasing that house. What happened? Well, you didn't follow up. You missed it. So I wouldn't necessarily try to push somebody into doing a deal with you during the holidays. I would just make sure that I followed up with them afterwards.
Okay. And I just took my screen off, everybody, just so you know, so we don't get our video taken down, so I can blur it.
But we're not on. Are we on YouTube today? We are still, right?
Yeah, we still are. Okay. Who currently uses list stacking? I'm curious. If anybody uses batch right now and you use list stacking, put a 1 in the chat. I'm curious to know, because there's not like a button that says stack my list in here, so it's not always the most obvious thing that you would think to do within batch leads, but it's definitely kind of a hidden gem. Once you know about it, I would be using it like crazy. Let's find these guys in here.
It's always my favorite thing to call. Always my favorite thing to call. That's right, guys. Go to batchleads.io/Jamil, code BASICS at the checkout. Get 50% off your first month. Test us. Test it out. Don't just take my word for it. Don't take Landree's word for it. If you're using PropStream right now, pull a list, sign up for batch, pull a list, compare them. See how many connects you get on their skip tracing. See how many connects you get on their skip tracing. See the quality. See how easy the comping tool is, right? These are the things that you want to be testing out. You really want to get the best bang for your buck. Don't just use PropStream because everybody back in the day used PropStream, right? It is a back in the day software. It's not over the last 5 years, we haven't really heard a lot of people talk about it, right? It's because it's just, kind of done what it's done. Fade to black is what I like to call it. And I am wearing my batch skip tracing hoodie.
Oh, heck yeah.
Which I don't know if you, this is one of the vintage ones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have one of these ones too?
No, I don't have one of them. Yeah, I don't have one of the BST. I have a bunch of just the basic batch B shirts.
See, yours says you're a B. Mine says I'm a beast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
I wasn't calling you a B. I was just,
okay. I'm just kidding.
Oh, the dad jokes just don't stop, do they?
Yeah, I love it. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I'm almost done, guys. I'm going to grab this real quick. And once again, just in case you guys missed it, if you sign up today, me and you and whoever is going to be able to come, we're going to hop on a Zoom just for you guys. It's not that we're blasting it out in emails or anything like that. It is very specific to this show. And I really love doing this stuff and really love talking about the softwares. Like, you shouldn't have a headache when you look at your software that's supposed to make your life easier. Right. And I'm here to help you guys, have this stuff down and feel confident about it so that you can focus on other skills in your business. Especially if you want to leverage a new tool, but it's hard to learn. There's a lot of software out there that can be really tricky, with all the technology nowadays. So it's a perfect time.
There you go. Alan said, "Hey, I'm pulling what I call a creative list every day/week. What are you referring to list stacking?" Oh, Alan, you are going to love this. Okay, so you can pull creative lists in batch. Of course, you'd pull an expired listing, but then you would also stack on top of the expired listings if they had any other pain points like absentee owner or tired landlord or any, high equity or notice of default. And you can stack expired listing on top of notice of default, on top of absentee owner, on top of tired landlord, on top of high equity. And if that list, if a property shows up on all of those lists, then that's what we call a super lead. Okay, now in the world of creative, which is what you're doing right now, you're not going to want high equity. You're going to want low equity, right? So maybe you would add on low equity, so just like they've owned it for the last 3 years or something like. So you would pull expired listing, low equity, notice of default, tired landlord, absentee owner, stack it all on top of each other, and then pull out the properties that appeared on all of those lists. That, my friend, is a super lead. That super lead is going to have a much higher chance of converting than just calling expired listings. I promise you.
Okay.
He's pulling on market, individually owned, 2 years, 85% LTV. Yeah, Alan, you can do that exact thing here. But again, on top of that, you could layer on absentee owner. You could layer on, notice of default, code violation. What else? Tired landlord, and then pull that super lead out. Call those people. Your conversions would be. I think you'd probably convert for the amount of time that you're spending on the phone right now, bro. You will convert at least 2 or 3 more leads if you consistently do what you're doing right now. You'll convert more leads because there'll be more motivation on that list because all those filters have been applied to it. So super, super smart, bro.
Okay, I'm going to send this over to you, Jamil.
All right. It's that time, guys.
These, just so you guys know, these are, I went through and I did a minimum of 3 lists that these ones are on from those. So just a heads up, I probably would pull more in here so that the system has more data to go through. I would say that a really good super list would be anywhere from properties being on 3 to 5 lists, plus. So keep that in mind as you guys are pulling things. I would definitely 3 to 5 is a winner. Let's do that. Okay.
So Landry, if you guys are wondering what's happening right now, she is sending me a list of leads, and I'm going to be calling these folks. And these were stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, they're not on all 5 of those because I would normally get like a way bigger one to deal with, to cross-reference. All of these for sure have high equity in these properties.
Cool beans.
I'll grab you some more too.
Welcome to Verizon Wireless. a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you do.
Okay, moving on to Larchwood.
Okay.
Blue Brick.
Okay.
Revels.
Yeah.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to...
Let's do that again. Double dial them. I'm making some seller calls. Here's what I'm doing.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
All right, then. Hello?
Hello.
Hi, I'm looking for the owner of the property on Revels Drive.
You might have the wrong number. You've reached a law firm.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye. Okay. Castlegate.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 9.
Try again.
Your call has been forwarded.
Hamilton Road.
Okay.
Six 1 5 7
Buena Vista.
The
Direct Pilot and Chipperell Hiroshi.
Hello? 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 Sounds like they were in a submarine.
Yeah.
Customer you have called is unavailable.
Welcome to Verizon.
It's a interesting day.
Yeah. Someone had this good question. Oh, wait, after you do that one.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the top.
Well, that's how she goes sometimes, guys. You're going to dial, they're going to pick up. Sometimes you're going to dial, they ain't going to pick up. It's just what it is. But it is, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Arizona time right now. And, we are going into the holidays, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to reach folks, but we try. That is the key, is that you try. You got to do your best. You got to give your, you can't just make a few calls and stop, of course, right? For the interest of the fact that we're on a live stream right now, we can't just sit here for 8 hours, but I would definitely be doing that. I would definitely be doing that, sitting for, at least 4 or 5 hours in 2-hour increments and just be power dialing. That's what's going to get you to the contacts.
Yep. It happens all the time where I used to, when I even worked with, or in the beginning of batch, it's like there's sometimes that you're just hitting everybody's voicemail, or you don't reach somebody or have a conversation and you're calling all day. That's how it goes with this scenario too.
Yep.
Especially with the circumstances. One of these times we'll have to, like one of those, when we pick a list and we call those people, like a good chunk of it, those are always really fun. We'll have to do that.
For sure. Is this our last show of the year, Landree?
Yeah. I think so.
I think so. Is it?
Yeah, it is. It is about to be.
Oh.
I think our next one is the 4th.
My goodness.
So, this is our last one of the
year. I'm just like, what a great year it's been working, together. And I've had an incredible time running this with you. Looking forward to many, many more opportunities to sit and do this beautiful work that we do every other week, which is showing people how to start their wholesale businesses from the basics, right? That's why the name of the show, guys, is Batch to Basics. We are literally showing you start to finish the process of how to get your wholesale deal under contract, how to talk to you, engage with buyers. Really, this is what the job is, right? We're talking to motivated homeowners. We are talking to buyers. We are getting deals under contract, and we are pairing those deals with those buyers, and we are making tens of thousands of dollars and leading ourselves to financial future, or to our financial freedom in the process. And so we just want to thank every single one of you guys who have tuned in every other week with us, that you guys understand just how much we appreciate you, how grateful we are for your attention, how grateful we are for your business. And if you guys haven't already, Landree wants to show you how to pull a super list tomorrow, again, where she's going to show you exactly step by step how to pull these lists and layer them on top of each other. I know that a bunch of you, Alan especially, if you are testing PropStream, you definitely want to give this a shot. Come in and test the two, right? Since you're already using PropStream, why don't you try what we have here at Batch and see, test it for yourself, run it for a month and see how it goes. You literally have nothing to lose. All it will do is give you more deals, more data, more opportunities, right? So anybody who has not yet signed up for Batch Leads, go to batchleads.io/Jamil, code BASICS at the checkout to receive 50% off your first month. And from Batch Leads, from Astro Flipping, from Keegly, from myself and Landree, we just wish you guys an incredible year. A very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays for whatever it is that you celebrate in your cultures. But we just wish you guys all the success and that you have a beautiful new year with your family, that you have time to reflect, that you have time to love, that you have time to spread peace in your family and to make goals for yourself for the upcoming year. What are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to leave behind in 2023? And what do you want to see new for 2024? All of your dreams are possible. It just requires you to do some work. Landree, any parting thoughts?
It's just been a great journey and show this past year. I'm really looking forward to 2024 to see what we do here. And just in general, everybody that joins, people that I talk to all the time, already seen them grow so much in their businesses and take it to new heights. And I'm just looking forward to see how that moves forward in the new year. And then also really quick before I forget, like John, your comment, just make sure that the code is in all caps. If you don't do it in caps, it won't work. So I don't know if you already tried that, but just a heads up, make sure you do it in all caps.
All caps. You're yelling it. Basics!
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just looking forward to this new year and hope everybody has a Merry Christmas.
Awesome, guys. We love you very much. Grateful for you. We'll see you all in the new year. Peace out.
All right. Thanks, guys.